for the normal changes that age inscribes on every human face. Women are much more heavily penalized than men. Even in early adolescence, girls are cautioned to protect their faces against wear and tear. Mothers tell their daughters, but never their sons, "You look ugly when you cry. Stop worrying. Don't read too much." Crying, frowning, squinting, even laughing. All these human activities make lines. The same usage of the face in men is judged quite positively. In a man's face, lines are taken to be signs of character. They indicate emotional strength, maturity, qualities far more esteemed in men than in women. They show he has lived. Even scars are often not felt to be unattractive. They too can add character to a man's face. But lines of aging, any scar, even a small birthmark on a woman's face, are always regarded as unfortunate blemishes. In effect, people take character in men to be different from what constitutes character in women. A woman's character is thought to be innate, static, not the product of her experience, her years, her actions. A woman's face is prized so far as it remains unchanged by or conceals the traces of her emotions. Her physical risk-taking. Ideally, it is supposed to be a mask, immutable, unmarked. The model woman's face is Garbo's, because women are identified with their faces much more than men are, and the ideal woman's face is one that is perfect. It seems a calamity when a woman has a disfiguring accident. A broken nose or a scar or a burn mark, no more than regrettable for a man, is a terrible psychological wound to a woman. Objectively, it diminishes her value. As is well known, most clients for plastic surgery are women. Both sexes aspire to a physical ideal, but what is expected of boys and what is expected of girls involves a very different moral relation to the self. Boys are encouraged to develop their bodies, to regard the body as an instrument to be improved. They invent their masculine selves largely through exercise and sport, which harden the body and strengthen competitive feelings. Clothes are of only secondary help in making their bodies attractive. Girls are not particularly encouraged to develop their bodies through any activity, strenuous or not. And physical strength and endurance are hardly valued at all. The invention of the feminine self proceeds mainly through clothes and other signs that testify to the very effort of girls to look attractive, to their commitment to please. When boys become men, they may go on, especially if they have sedentary jobs, practicing a sport or doing exercises for a while. Mostly, they leave their appearance alone, having been trained to accept more or less what nature has handed out to them. Men may start doing exercises again in their 40s to lose weight, but for reasons of health. There is an epidemic fear of heart attacks among the middle-aged in rich countries, not for cosmetic reasons. As one of the norms of femininity in this society is being preoccupied with one's physical appearance, so masculinity means not caring very much about one's looks. This society allows men to have a much more affirmative relation to their bodies than women have. Men are more, quote, at home, end of quote, in their bodies, whether they treat them casually or use them aggressively. A man's body is defined as a strong body. It contains no contradiction between what is felt to be attractive and what is practical. A woman's body, so far as it is considered attractive, is defined as a fragile, light body. Thus, women worry more than men do about being overweight. When they do exercises, women avoid the ones that develop the muscles, particularly those in the upper arms. Being feminine means looking physically weak, frail. Thus, the ideal woman's body is one that is not of much practical use in the hard work of this world, and one that must continually be defended. Women do not develop their bodies as men do. After a woman's body has reached its sexually acceptable form by late adolescence, most further development is viewed as negative. and it is thought irresponsible for women to do what is normal for men, simply leave their appearance alone. During early youth, they are likely to come as close as they ever will to the ideal image: slim figure, smooth, firm skin, light musculature, graceful movements. Their task is to try to maintain that image unchanged as long as possible. Improvement as such is not the task. Women care for their bodies against toughening, coarsening, getting fat. They conserve them. Perhaps the fact that women in modern societies tend to have a more conservative political outlook than men originates in their profoundly conservative relation to their bodies. In the life of women in the society, the period of pride, of natural honesty, of unself-conscious flourishing is brief. Once past youth, women are condemned to inventing and maintaining themselves against the inroads of age. Most of the physical qualities regarded as attractive in women deteriorate much earlier in life than those defined as male. Indeed, they perish fairly soon in the normal sequence of body transformation. The feminine is smooth, rounded, hairless, unlined, soft, unmuscled, the look of the very young, characteristics of the weak, of the vulnerable, eunuch traits, as Germaine Greer has pointed out. Actually, there are only a few years, late adolescence, early 20s, in which this look is physiologically natural, in which it can be had without touching up and covering up. After that, women enlist in a quixotic enterprise, trying to close the gap between the imagery put forth by society concerning what is attractive in a woman and the evolving facts of nature. Women have a more intimate relation to aging than men do, simply because one of the accepted women's occupations is taking pains to keep one's face and body from showing the signs of growing older. Women's sexual validity depends, up to a certain point, on how well they stand off these natural changes. After late adolescence, women become the caretakers of their bodies and faces, pursuing an essentially defensive strategy, a holding operation. A vast array of products and jars and tubes, a branch of surgery, and armies of hairdressers, masseuses, diet counselors, and other professionals exist to stave off or mask developments that are entirely normal biologically. Large amounts of women's energies are diverted into this passionate, corrupting effort to defeat nature, to maintain an ideal, static appearance against the progress of age. The collapse of the project is only a matter of time. Inevitably, a woman's physical appearance develops beyond its youthful form. No matter how exotic the creams or how strict the diets, one cannot indefinitely keep the face unlined, the waist slim. Bearing children takes its toll. The torso becomes thicker. The skin is stretched. There's no way to keep certain lines from appearing in one's mid-20s around the eyes and mouth. From about 30 on, the skin gradually loses the skin. From about 30 on, the skin gradually loses its tonus. In women, this perfectly natural process is regarded as a humiliating defeat, while nobody finds anything remarkably unattractive in the equivalent physical changes in men. Men are allowed to look older without sexual penalty.